Another day, another relationship with a foreign country destroyed. And this time, it's our second biggest trading partner, Canada. And late last night, Trump posted that he would be terminating all trade negotiations with Canada after they posted an ad using Ronald Reagan's words regarding tariffs. Now, Trump claimed that the comments from Reagan were fake, but there's absolutely no indication that his words were altered in any way. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. Let's get there. So hit subscribe, watch, comment, and share because this nonsense, it has to stop. And this morning, Canada Prime Minister Mark Carney, he started his trip to Asia and was asked about Trump's decision to end trade negotiations. Play the clip.
All right, good morning. Look, for months, we have stressed the importance of distinguishing things we can control and things we can't control. We can't control the trade policy of the United States. We recognize that that policy has fundamentally changed from the policy in the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. And it's a situation where the United States has tariffs against every one of their trading partners to different degrees. And it's in that context that our officials, my colleagues, have been working with their American colleagues on detailed, constructive negotiations, discussions on specific transactions, specific sectors, steel, aluminum, and energy. And a lot of progress has been made. And we stand ready to pick up on that progress and build on that progress when the Americans are ready to have those discussions, because it will be for the benefit of workers in the United States, workers in Canada, and families in both of our countries. Now, what we can control, absolutely, is how we build here at home. And that's the focus of Budget 2025, generational investment here in Canada. And what we can also control, or at least heavily influence, is developing new partnerships and opportunities, including with the economic giants of Asia, which is the focus of this trip.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to leave America in the dust, and they're going to go find their goods and their needs elsewhere. But let me give you some context, because earlier this week, Ontario paid for an ad talking about the tariffs, which are crushing them. Let me show it to you. Play the clip.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.
And we're feeling it. We feel it every single day. How many times are you going to hear me say, tariffs are taxes and consumers pay tariffs? Now, the Ronald Reagan Foundation, let me show you what they posted in regard to this. In it, they turn around and they say, listen to President Reagan's unedited remarks here. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute learned that the government of Ontario, Canada, created an ad campaign using selective audio and video of President Ronald Reagan delivering his radio address to the nation on free and fair trade, dated April 25, 1987. The ad misrepresents the presidential radio address, and the government of Ontario did not seek nor receive permission to use and edit the remarks. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute is reviewing its legal options in this matter. We encourage you to watch President Reagan's unedited video on our YouTube channel. Now, let me be crystal clear about something. The quotes in the video are from a radio address that President Reagan gave in 1987 when he urged Congress to not pursue protectionist policies against Japan. Now, let me also show you Ronald Reagan's words and prove to you, because here we believe in proof. I want to prove to you that the foundation is lying on behalf of this administration. Play the clip.
Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. Now, there are sound historical reasons for this. For those of us who lived through the Great Depression, the memory of the suffering it caused is deep and searing. And today, many economic analysts and historians argue that high tariff legislation passed back in that period, called the Smoot-Hawley tariff, greatly deepened the Depression and prevented economic recovery. You see, at first, when someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. What eventually occurs is, first, homegrown industries start relying on government protection in the form of high tariffs. They stop competing and stop making the innovative management and technological changes they need to succeed in world markets. And then, while all this is going on, something even worse occurs. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. The result is more and more tariffs, higher and higher trade barriers, and less competition. So soon, because of the prices made artificially high by tariffs that subsidize inefficiency and poor management, people stop buying. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. The memory of all this occurring back in the 30s made me determined when I came to Washington to spare the American people the protectionist legislation that destroys prosperity. Now, it hasn't always been easy. There are those in the Congress, just as there were back in the 30s, who want to go for the quick political advantage, who risk America's prosperity for the sake of a short-term appeal to some special interest group, who forget that more than 5 million American jobs are directly tied to the foreign export business, and additional millions are tied to imports. Well, I've never forgotten those jobs, and on trade issues, by and large, we've done well.
Yeah, let me be clear about something. Quick political advantage, significant job loss. I'm not so sure that the Reagan Foundation should have sent what they did. Now, meanwhile, let me tell you what Trump said. He commented on the ad at the Rose Garden just the other day. Play that clip.
We're the most successful. We're believers in tariffs. And I even see foreign countries now that we are doing very well with taking ads. Don't go with tariffs. They're taking ads. I saw an ad last night from Canada. If I was Canada, I'd take that same ad also. But they're actually on television taking ads. But I do believe that everybody's too smart for that. We have a very, very big and important case coming up. We should win the case based on the legal merit. We should also win the case based on all of the things you'll see some of the president.
Yeah, well, again, he just doesn't like it because it conflicts with this concept that he has, or I should say that Russell Vought has on tariffs. Then last night, he posted this saying trade negotiations with Canada were over. Let me show you what he said. In it, he writes, the Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement, which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs. The ad was for $75 million. They only did this to interfere with this decision of the U.S. Supreme Court and other courts. Tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA. Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT. Well, let me go on to say, you already heard. I didn't play those long clips for you because I have nothing to say. I wanted you to hear the words directly from Ronald Reagan's mouth. Trump continued his angry posting this morning. Let me show you what he said just this AM. He writes, Canada cheated and got caught. They fraudulently took a big buy ad saying that Ronald Reagan did not like tariffs when actually he loved tariffs for our country and its national security. Canada is trying to illegally influence the United States Supreme Court in one of the most important rulings in the history of our country. Canada has long cheated on tariffs, charging our farmers as much as 400%. Now they and other countries can't take advantage of the U.S. any longer. Thank you to the Ronald Reagan Foundation for exposing this fraud. Make America great again. Well, let me go on and say, you're going to hear a lot from the GOP on, the Ronald Reagan Foundation denying that these are his words. You saw, you heard the words yourself. And this morning, more people are going to come out and try to keep banging it into your head that what Canada's doing is wrong, that they're lying, that this is some AI fraudulent manipulation, but it's not, including the fact that this morning, Kevin Hassett, Smiling Bob, spoke with Fox about Trump's decision to cut off trade negotiations. Play the clip.
Trump announced all trade talks with Canada have been called off because of an alleged fake ad that showed Ronald Reagan bad-mouthing tariffs. Okay, the president's angry about this. He immediately just said, no more talks with Canada. But where do we go from here?
Well, I mean, the president, I'm sure, has his reasons. There have been a lot of talks with Canada. I've been involved in some of them. And I think the president probably more than anything is frustrated with the progress that he's making with Canada. And sometimes when you're frustrated, a timeout is the right call. And the president's saying no talks with Canada. I would guess that at some point between now and the end of his term, he'll talk to Canada again. But yes, right now, I think there's been frustration with the behavior of the Canadians, the demeanor of the Canadians, the positions of the Canadians. And so it's probably a good time to take a break for a little while.
I think.
Yeah. And let me tell you what I think. I think that we're making a terrible mistake. Let me also be clear that much of the northeast of the United States is actually powered by Ottawa. It's powered by Canada, not by the United States. The power, electricity, comes from them. On top of that, soft lumber, steel, etc. Americans are going to feel the hurt as a result of this. Now, later in the day, Kevin Hassett was talking to more reporters at the Sticks and seemed to be over this topic. He's done. Play the clip.
Using it now to get it back under control.
And then on this ad that President Trump was referring to up in Canada and Ronald Reagan, have you seen the ad, sir, yourself?
I'm not going to talk about that.
Mr. Hassett, sorry, it was hard to...
Yeah. There's a reason that he doesn't want to talk about it, because it's a losing scenario. Like I said, you all heard Ronald Reagan. You saw the clip of Ronald Reagan at that address on the mic talking and reading it. In fact, you can actually go to the Ronald Reagan Foundation library and you can pull up that exact speech yourself and read it word for word. And Ronald Reagan believed, as someone who had lived through the Depression, that tariffs, short term, may work, but in the long term are bad. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. We're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.